So I'm really interested to see what LIDICA, I can't wait for this guy to pronounce her name, so I never mispronounce it, and I'll blame this guy, Mr. Meow, on it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I said in the last videos that I actually was going to do a video on how likely it was that she was going to be in the game. She's way too animated. She pretty much had an S3 animation already in the game. I was like, there's no way that this character is not getting in the game. And to my surprise, boom, there she is. She reminds me of Ivy from Soul Calibur, a gun. What the fuck? She has a sword that is like that can depart itself and causes bleeding and stuff like that. Literally Ivy from Soul Calibur. If you don't know Soul Calibur, I'll show you.
I'll make you submit. Enjoy your treat. Give it up already.
Literally just like that. So I'm really interested to see what LIDICA, I can't wait for this guy to pronounce her name, so I never mispronounce it, and I'll blame this guy, Mr. Meow, on it. A hot-blooded member of the Phantom CIC tracking down the unknown. So let's see what her skill set is, because you guys know I'm always about seeing it live for you guys at the same time in a separate video, because I don't want to clutter the video with, you know, hero impressions and what kind of builds can she do. I don't like doing that, so I like it to be separate so it can be viewed separately outside of the updates, because this character is their own beautiful thing. Let's see our baby boo. And I love that dude. It's like, here she comes.
Expelled from the Rose Apostles, she joined the Phantom CIC to investigate the Land of Death. She wanted to defeat the
attack boosting attacker. Well, I actually don't know if she's an attacker, to be fair. But hey, look at that. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen.
Unknown and instill her faith into others. However, her rough personality still causes problems within the Phantom CIC.
She's Ivy. Let's see it.
Public Execution. An attack skill that decreases the combat readiness and speed of the target and grants the caster a skill damage immunity buff.
Skill damage immunity buff. What?
Thornbush. An AoE attack that decreases hit chance of all enemies.
Love that. Love that a lot.
Wild Rose. A basic skill that decreases the combat readiness of the target.
So, first of all, she's another fire character, and I swear to God, like, there's like a billion of them. But it's so she pretty much has the same kit that she has in the story. She has ways to keep decreasing combat readiness to kind of keep you from, I want to explain this before this guy just tells me how to play her. But like, she has a really cool kit when it comes down to, oh, I'm just gonna stop you guys from going. And it's actually pretty strong because there's not many characters in the game that have that, even though her S1 and S3 are single target, it seems. So it is kind of a little bit jarring when you see something like this, and it's like, you know, you can keep pushing back one person, but I was hoping that her S2, the AoE kind of thing, was going to be the one that pushed people back, so you can actually run her fast, push everyone back, kind of like Shadow Rose, but you know, it was more attainable because of a banner character instead of it being like a Moonlight character. You know, have a way to push back everyone, and then you can run a slower units. It allows you to run like kind of slower units because she's going to keep pushing everyone back. But you know, at least you can stop potentially the you know, when people do speed comps, you can stop the combat readiness person. So, you know, there's a little tricks with that. Especially, we'll see how much she pushes them.
LIDICA is a fire elemental ranger who can lock up targets through numerous debuffs. Public Execution decreases the target's combat readiness to zero.
That's amazing.
While increasing the survivability of the caster by granting a skill damage
immunity.
Look at that.
Debuff. Look at that.
Thornbush can decrease hit chance of all enemies with certainty when soldiered, and is even more powerful when used in synergy with LIDICA's combat readiness decreasing basic skill.
So as you saw there, that was actually really smart of them there. They showed specifically that it blocks a skill. It blocks the damage from a skill. It's like a one-hit immunity, but it does not block any of the debuffs that would come along with it, which I kind of appreciate that. They didn't want to make it too strong. So there she is. What are you guys' first impressions before we read on here? Let's read. LIDICA is a fire element who can lock up targets to the numerous debuffs. You know, I think she only technically has one, but I guess you can consider combat readiness a debuff. right? So before awakening, and then this is the big one, right? 10%. The enemy's debuff decreasing by additional 10%. This is obviously going to go up. Well, actually, not, I shouldn't say obviously, because they could just be like damage increase, damage increase. So if the target is debuffed, then it will be a 20% pushback. The S3 is the, that's the one, and takes them down to 0. So again, depending on her speed, she's going to be actually able to like completely rip and someone just does not go. They lose their turn and their speed is decreased. This actually means that this person not only is losing their turn, but it's going to take a little bit longer for them to get their turn. And I do like that they actually specify here lowest turn, four turns. They let you kind of know. So in a 1v1, she can actually like lap the kind of person like lap them a lot. And I think the Wyvern does have protection, but if you think the Golem, actually no, it's pointless against the Golem because Golem gets a free turn every time you hit him 4 times, right? So, but the skill nullifier thing is cool. It does, if since it's only for 1 turn, but it does seem like it goes away when it's used. Since it does go away when it's used, it would have been nice that you don't get any of the debuff, so it counts as like an auto miss. But then they would have just said, hey, it's like a invincibility miss, but you still get the debuff, so like you can still get stunned from what they showed here. Let's just look back at it just to be doubly sure, right? And
right, used with certainty when soldiered, and is even more powerful when used in synergy with LIDICA's combat readiness decreasing basic skill.
Yeah, it looked like she took it because it's definitely not her turn, right? It's Sigrid's turn. She gets hit. She still gets the bleed and unhealable. So it's pretty much, it's looking like, as far as it would have been nice, but maybe it would have been too strong that she blocked everything, but she does not take the damage from the skill. So now the testing would have to be, does she, let's say if you let's see, Falconer. We all know that the Falconer will target water, so she's pretty much safe against Falconer. But let's say if you were fighting them and you saw her, LIDICA goes first, S3s immediately, and then your Falconer goes next. Does her skill thing work on, will they go away even though she's not taking damage from a skill? If you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Because not all skills do damage. They might just take a buff off, like Araminta, she has the S2, right? Let's say you S3, then she tries the S2, which is like a little check to see if you have fire. Will that take away the debuff? That's kind of like, it grants the caster skill nullifier. But, it didn't even nullify the full effect of Sigrid's skills. So that just seems a little lackluster. It would prefer if you just ignore the skill happening to you in its in its overall capacity. But yeah, so S2 is going to hit everyone with 85% chance to decrease the chance. Now, hit chance is forcing a miss. As you guys don't, hopefully you guys know how strong that is. A miss, you will not take any debuffs. You will take a very small amount of the damage. So miss is really good. 85% chance means that you don't have to invest too much into it for that to happen. And you can soul burn for 10 souls, which is really good. And it will actually ignore effective resistance. So unless you miss this, it will pretty much land. So that's pretty cool. She's definitely a disabler, and a lot of the rangers and mages are pretty much built that way. They're not like overwhelmingly like straight up. Not overwhelmingly and straight up about damage. They sometimes usually have a little bit of a tricky side to them. So she's lowering someone's combat readiness, single target combat readiness on the S1 and the S3, keeping them down, and then the S2 constantly to make sure that the entire squad cannot really fight back that well. So obviously we're gearing towards speed. What a surprise. What a surprise here. We want to be fast. So yeah. You want it to be fast, and at least for the S2, you can even start the fight off with an S2, or depending on if their team is synergized like crazy, you can just start off with the S3 and reduce their buffer or reduce the Shadow Rose or anyone that's going to, all of a sudden put the team in a tempo, or you can just reduce the attacker and throw them back so far that maybe they don't even have a chance to do anything. So it's a really good thing to have a thing that resets someone's cooldowns. There's a lot of ways to play with that. So her kit is good. Now, the problem is that right now she's dropping around Luna. Do you get this character instead of Luna? You know, that's going to be up to you guys to discuss in the comments, you know, what you want to do. Obviously, she has her own little thing, which is this beautiful, lovely thing here, where she's going to, you know, double attack. She can double attack here, which in this case would reset someone down to 20%, or if they're debuffed, 40% pushback is kind of strong. I would say, you know, that's pretty good. 40% pushback if they have a debuff, which if she S3s and then starts S1ing them, that character is going to have a hard time ever seeing the light of combat if she just sits there and focuses on them while, you know, doing this, and then, you know, also dual attacks, counter attacks, you know, really making sure that these characters do not see the light of day. So, you know, that's very strong. It's a very strong way to do that. The only other character I knew that had a like S1 combat readiness was like a Namune's, I think. And she's a ranger, funny enough. She's a ranger as well, and she's fire as well. And then but she also has like the enemy max HP thing, so let's see. Let's go and see what if you don't get this, which I barely ever get the artifact that comes along with the hero, but let's see what other lovely artifacts you can use. All right, let's start with the 5-star. We got the Bloodstone. Obviously, this is more for farming. It's not really something that you're going to bring in the arena offense. She doesn't have any ways to constantly trigger multiple attacks. I think that's pretty much a way that's what you would want to use this for, unless you put her on like Unity set and maybe she's like constantly attacking and then constantly healing by the damage that is dealt, which would be decent, but not my cup of tea. I don't think that this is for her unless you're trying to use her as a farm unit. Song of Stars is, if you have it, is obviously really good. If you, especially if you max it out, it's going to force them to be targeted, and then when the character is targeted, they'll take 15% more damage, which is really good. And I was just realizing when I was talking about the other one is that yeah, she can S3 and then S1, and then, you know, constantly keep that character drill. Hey, someone got Luna. They don't know that they should be summoning for the LIDICA. Yeah, right. But you know, this would be not that bad. Obviously, if you don't, like I said, if you don't have, this is excluding Sword of Judgment, so this one is pretty good as far as constantly allowing, especially on, like, again, I said Unity set, or actually if you go counter set, you know, those are really good ways to get yourself these additional buffs on dual attack or on counter. I don't think that this is in, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think this is in actual global, but of course AoE, she doesn't have a ton of AoE, she only has one AoE, so this would be a no for me. This will also be a no for me, though it would be like additional damage on top of her that when she's hitting off element, but this doesn't help you not miss, so yeah, that's gonna be a no. On to the 4-star artifacts. Increases Infinity Basket increases allies' chance of dual attack by 7%. This doesn't really, this is for when you want to put it on a ranger that I guess maybe is quick or doesn't need to attack that much often, but if you, especially, they have to have like a really cool effect on their, like a defense break or something like that on their S1, and this will kind of make sense if like that. But outside of that, you know, you don't really want to use Infinity Basket unless you have some type of synergy with other characters attacking with you, when she doesn't. So like, it would be better if, you know, a character attacks first and then she attacks, and then maybe her S1 then would reduce 20% combat readiness, but the character always attacks first, then the dual attack. That's how it works. So that would be a no. I don't think you want Infinity Basket. I don't actually see Sashay as a, after they nerfed it to the ground, I don't really see it as a good standard like PvE, PvP kind of thing. It is really good for farming, so I guess PvE, but only when you're farming. Allows your team to just get combat readiness every time an enemy dies and kind of speeds up the process. But overall, that's a no. Rose Hogna, of course, one of the best ones for any ranger that does assist with attacking. Now when you know, when other people are attacking, she will actually attack, get a attack boost, and also lower the combat readiness. Really good to have on a ranger. One of the best. Actually, I'm surprised it's not a 5-star artifact, to be completely honest with you. This was actually one of the old challenger ones, and it's funny because now there's a bunch of rangers that do have strong S1s, like Bologna, but when it comes down to her, it's like the combat readiness thing, and it just will increase that damage that's on that skill. It's this, you know, it just doesn't seem like you really need to necessarily do that. 20% boost is nice if you have it maxed out, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it that necessary. I would prefer something that really utilizes her kit a little bit better. I would be interested to see this, especially on a counter and Unity set. Now, decreases the combat readiness by, we're going to go 5% on a single attack. Now, this would actually be 25%, you know, with this and her passive. And if it levels up the S1, if it levels up to even more combat readiness decrease, could be pretty vicious on literally locking down a target. And more specifically, certain bosses that are not immune to this type of thing would really suffer greatly and possibly could not get a turn with mostly with a dual set. So let's say you don't have all those other fancy ones that I named earlier. This would be interesting to see. It would, you know, in my opinion, it'd be interesting to see like reducing someone's combat readiness by like 25% each hit. Is a pretty hefty amount. And I don't know if you guys have ever been lapped by those stupid monsters that like do that overhead thing. They're usually in the rifts and stuff like that, with the stupid tongue monsters, and they constantly decrease your combat readiness, and you literally get lapped by them. They take so many turns. So, you know, it would be interesting to see if she can actually do that. It's single target, but, you know, if she keeps countering and dual attacking, and, you know, it would be interesting to see how crazy of a lockdown she actually could present. Randon's is actually also pretty good. Every time she attacks, she has 3 attacks, so she's always going to be boosting the speed aspect of it. Also, obviously, since she does deal with combat readiness, it is a nice thing to get your speed up, constantly get more turns, and keep lowering their combat readiness to lap them over and over again. And last but not least, Forest Totem, because it has a 20% chance to grant continuous healing for 2 turns when attacked. This is just a really good, I'm just kidding. All right, that's pretty much it. Obviously, you have the Candlestick, which is a mainstay, the Tonfas, which is pretty much a mainstay, and Yakashka is actually not that bad. Yeah, it is. You know, after like first hour of playing the game. Oh, actually, okay. Sword of Morning is actually good in my opinion. Don't really see it too often, but it is pretty good. Once you get lower on health, your attack and speed go up by 20%. Let me actually double check. 20%, and this is 20% too. But see, at least you get attack also with that one too. I really don't see people utilize this that often. I do think it's actually good, but of course you have to get lower on HP for it to make sense, you know. But there's too many good 4 and 5-star artifacts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section about this character. Her timing is garbage, and I'm not gonna hide that at all. You guys know me not to lie. I don't lie. But I do think that her timing is a little bit off. Instead of dropping another character, they could have done a lot. They could have done a lot as far as just doing different things. Could have just put some other content in the game instead of putting out another character. I would have preferred, you know, something else. Yeah, like it would be cool if they did another Zeno, but it's very unlikely that they're going to do another Zeno thing, giving us a free 5-star. But in this case, I think it would have been fantastic, especially with everything else on how she works and how this artifact works. It just would have been a really, really, really dope thing. And like I said, obviously Sword of Judgment is a great artifact on her. You know, like we said, 20%, if not more. Losing that on a single character, constantly forcing them to lose combat readiness over and over and over again, is nothing to laugh at. So I think she's a good character. I do think she's worth a summon. It's hard for me to tell the Luna fanboys that this character is better, but it's based on your account. And you know, do you need a character that is pretty much a lockdown character, reducing the combat readiness on a frequent basis, mind you, 4-turn cooldown on her ult, and just locking one character down to that character that's going every turn to pretty much going maybe one, you know, every other turn, and just constantly losing turns. And like I said, on counter, you know, and on Unity, really locking people down and making sure that your team is going more often. She can actually be not even on an attack set. You can actually just run her on a tanky set and just have her sit there and just debilitate English, just screw over I love how I default to like, you know, simpler language. Just kind of like sit there and screw over the single target by not letting them go. And what's cool is that she does have the S2 to just kind of screw everyone once in a while. I do wish her like how when you fight her S3 triggers her S2. That would have been way cooler in my opinion. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below on Reddit and on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. If you liked the video, please send me a like, man. I really would appreciate it. Like, you know, comment, let me know how you guys feel. I'm always about the people. That's why I still do this. It would have been smart to quit a long time ago. I promise you my finances and my overweightness will agree. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.